Hey folks, Trace Monk here, playing some more Pillars of Eternity. And we're totally going over some more of this territory here in the wooden plains, hoping that we don't come across another pack like that last one we did with the like 3 forest trolls and the 4 or 5 whatever they're actually called, Puigras. What? Come on. Combat log doesn't go back that far. Doesn't look like there's probably going to be too much more here in this part of things. Heck, I'm just circling this building just to circle it at this point. Go make sure that we don't have anything else hidden on this map here. Okay. For a little darkened corner over here. That's about it. Okay then, I guess we'll just go off the side of the map over here since that's closer. And let's move on to the bridge into Defiance Bay. Yeah, 4 hours. That's good. Doesn't really matter right now. Okay. Oh, nope. Oh, I guess those are kind of the gold folks there. I didn't think they were for a minute. Yes, they actually were. Is this just literally going to be just the bridge into town here? Okay, there's a Justiciar. Take the vegetables. Take the fruit. 'Cause nobody on this map cares about them.
Welcome.
Can we talk to you? Ah, yes. What can I do for you? What can you tell me about this place? Sorry, but I don't have time right now. But it sounds like that Dozens crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. He'd be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city, liberally flavored with Dozens propaganda, of course. You seem to be on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees coming in from all parts under some misguided notion that things are actually better here, that the legacy somehow passed us over. So they show up with no prospects and little money and just end up making a worse mess of things. No offense. Alright, well, not sure why you'd want to go to the temple. It's in First Fires if you really want to see it. Okay, goodbye. You're just both the, okay, you have a name. You're Justiciar Forgrant, and he's just Justiciar. And he's just gonna say, you know, First Fires just west of Crucible Keep. Okay. And looks like we have to go to Copper Lane first. 15 minutes, and it's gonna prompt us about it. Seriously gonna prompt us over 15 minutes.
Defiance Bay. The city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
Okay then, and apparently that was the end of Act 1.
Defiance Bay. If ever there was a dry field in need of a cleansing flame, you have found it.
Dang it, why can't I see your name over your head? There we go. I figured it was this guy, but still. New in town, eh? You've picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding the legacies no better here. It's the Animancers, Magrin scorch 'em, and they nest in this city like rats. You mark my word though, us dozens are gonna put a stop to it. Well, what are you doing here? Trying to get folk to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis, and instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting Animancers dangerous liberties. Well, what do you know about animancy? It's the study and manipulation of essence, which any sane person will tell you is the purview of the gods. The Adirans at least had the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic, chanting, or the soul readings those ciphers do. It's been around since ancient Ingwithan times, which is why you'll see Animancers tinkering with old Ingwithan artifacts. Half-truths, all, but he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. Trouble is, the Animancers got no idea what half those artifacts actually do. Not that they'll admit it. Our emphatic friend is correct about one thing, at least. So tell me about the dozens. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of Animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like a militia, the dozens, except for the training, and the discipline, and the code of honor. And we're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state of the country. You have any interest in hearing more, stop by Admeth's Den sometime. The Expedition Hall. A lot of free thinkers in there can set straight all the nonsense the nobles and the Animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work for motivated types. Oh, what about Defiance Bay in general, though? This is the capital of the Free Palatinate of the Deerwood. Started out as the capital of an Adiran colony, but we booted out the Flaccid Scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days, we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all over the world, but we, some of us anyway, strive to hold on to the pioneering spirit that earned us our freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts: Copper Lane, First Fires, Andra's Gift, Brackenbury, and Heritage Hill. And what about Copper Lane? This here is Copper Lane. It's primarily a market district, but you've also got the Expedition Hall directly north of here where you can join treks into the wilds. That's also where my fellow dozens, martyrs, and I tend to meet up with other concerned citizens. And that's the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Eerie place, you ask me, but they've got the biggest library in the Deerwood. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kith stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Merrick and see just what mysteries are revealed. But what about Brackenbury? The nobility that didn't sail back to Adir stayed there. Most of the families there trace their lineage back to old imperial times. Other than a lot of has-been nobility, you've got Hadrit House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and Brackenbury Sanitarium, the main cesspit of animancy in the city. So I'm wondering right now, is Webb actually her last name? And if so, isn't that a bit on the nose for a spy mistress? So what about First Fires? That's where the revolution started, hence the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and panderers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you'll find the Ducal Palace, the Vilian Embassy, and Crucible Keep. He shakes his head. The Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, but now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and their heads up their asses. There's an old temple of Wotica there, too. And we keep it real nice for her. So, wait, what was this one? It was Andra's something? Got the name because it was a wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's a seedy district populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs, but it's a fun place too if you know where to look. Look for a place called the Salty Mast when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly warehouses and abandoned homes. Now, what about Heritage Hill? It used to be one of the more prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of the Revolution claimed plots up there next to an ancient Ingwithan tower in the city cemetery. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts richer types these days. A lot of animancy patrons. You wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple months ago. The authorities sealed it off and they're keeping their mouths shut. But mark my words, animancy's to blame. Let's see if there's anything else to talk to this guy about. Nope, that's it. Okay then. Alright. Goose and Fox. Marketplace. There's an expedition hall. Pernisk's house. Out to the world map. Lumdalla's house, Scrivener's dormitory, the Hall of Revealed Mysteries, the way to First Fires, the way to Catacombs, or a door to Catacombs, and the way to Brackenbury. Okay, well let's work our way up here to the expedition hall. This is the local inn. Looks like we've got a lot of user-created things here.
Greetings.
Bishop. Here for a drink? Let's see. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Bareth. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. What more is there to tell? Well, how'd you go from religion to taverns, man? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. It started with Hollowborn, and with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. It was my sister's son, the beginning of Widewind's legacy. He was one of the first. I've never expected that there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for their Hollowborn children, and the gods were silent. So you lost your faith? Bareth promises rebirth. Cycles. The only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink. Have another. And another. Until I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up. Come back. Finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before and I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone, so I came here. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I've found my answers. I've just stopped asking questions. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of Deerwooden independence by a traveling scholar named Errol of Levy. He wanted a place where kith of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the Gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Deerwoodens have never been known to turn down an argument. I bet things got interesting after that. Soon, kith were coming from the farms and settlements too. This place got even more popular with the Vylian sailors than the Salty Mast, and that was the problem. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane, and when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. But Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town, hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. If only he could see it now. Well, I guess the place does have a decent enough reason for its name. Oh. That's somebody that we can talk to? Kainra? Woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. What are you doing here? Just trying to calm down and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. But this is an RPG, and like we're gonna leave when somebody still has dialogue to give us. At last, Kainra looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give to my fiancé, Pernisk. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Tell me about these new friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool. I know what it means. Pernisk makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the Gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Sveth changes you, I guess. The Pernisk I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... Let's see here. But Sveth just makes people calm and listless. It shouldn't make them violent. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Well, maybe I could go talk to him. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what'll happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruise. I'll take the ring to him then. The house is just north of here. Just... please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Well, I can't promise anything, lady. It all depends on how he behaves. And on what talking to him reveals. I wonder what the little mask thing is about there. I mean, like, if we
I shall be
look like
quiet
this,
as a
like
calm
we're
sea,
invisible right now.
which is not very quiet.
Which is not very quiet. Oh, Eder wants to talk to us. Well, that'll have to be next time, folks. Until then, bye-bye.